from our first CD. And this is probably our favorite story, and it's pretty popular with our audiences too. And there's a little interaction in it, and we'd be happy to have you interact.
Fun.
Once, there was a little green animal. He had big bulgy eyes, webbed feet, and he lived in a swamp. What do you think it was?
A frog?
I think it's a frog.
It was a frog, but it wasn't just any frog. It was a wide-mouthed frog.
Wide.
Now,
Oh.
this little wide-mouthed frog, he was such a happy little guy. He ate what he wanted to eat. He swam when he wanted to swim. And when he wanted to sing, he had his very own song. I'm a little wide-mouthed frog, ribbit, ribbit. I'm a little wide-mouthed frog, croak, croak. I'm a little wide-mouthed frog, I live in the swamp near the bog. I'm a little wide-mouthed frog. Well, now one day that little wide-mouthed frog was just sitting there on his lily pad, and on the next lily pad over from him was his mama. Now she was making him some supper. You know what she was making him? Fly stew with mashed mosquitoes and dragonfly wing gravy. That little wide-mouthed frog just loved those foods. But you know, he was a very curious little fellow, and he wondered what other animal mothers fed their babies. So he decided to take a hop through the jungle and find out. He just hopped on off of that lily pad and started hopping down that jungle trail. And as he did, he sang his song. I'm a little wide-mouthed frog, ribbit, ribbit. I'm a little wide-mouthed frog, croak, croak. I'm a little wide-mouthed frog, I live in the swamp near the bog. I'm a little wide-mouthed frog. Now that little wide-mouthed frog, he was hopping down that trail, and all of a sudden he saw an animal. Now this animal was very tall. It had long legs with knobby knees and a long neck, and its head was way up in the trees. What do you think it was?
A giraffe?
It was a giraffe, but it wasn't just any giraffe. It was a mother giraffe, and she had 2 giraffe babies. And that little wide-mouthed frog, he called up to that mother giraffe. He said, "Oh, mother giraffe, what do you feed your babies?" And the mother giraffe said, "Why, I feed my babies tender green leaves from the tops of the trees. Would you like to stay for supper?" Well, the wide-mouthed frog thought about that, and he said, "Not today, maybe another day, but thank you anyway." And he hopped away, and as he hopped, he sang his song. I'm a little wide-mouthed frog, ribbit, ribbit. I'm a little wide-mouthed frog, croak, croak. I'm a little wide-mouthed frog, I live in the swamp near the bog. I'm a little wide-mouthed frog. Now that little wide-mouthed frog, he was hopping down that jungle trail, and all of a sudden, another animal slithered right across the path in front of him. What do you think it was?
Snake.
It was a snake, but it wasn't just any snake. It was a mother snake, and she had 3 snake babies. Now that little wide-mouthed frog, he called out to that mother snake. He said, "Oh, mother snake, what do you feed your babies?" And the mother snake said, "I feed my babies mice and rats and other little furry creatures. Would you like to stay for supper?" Well, the wide-mouthed frog thought about that, and he said, "Not today, maybe another day, but thank you anyway." And he hopped away. And as he hopped, he sang his song. I'm a little wide-mouthed frog, ribbit, ribbit. I'm a little wide-mouthed frog, croak, croak. I'm a little wide-mouthed frog, I live in the swamp near the bog. I'm a little wide-mouthed frog. Well, that little wide-mouthed frog, he kept hopping down that jungle trail, and all of a sudden, he heard a noise from up overhead. He looked up, and there was an animal up there, swinging from branch to branch. What do you think it was?
Wasn't an elephant. It must have been a
Monkey.
It was a monkey, but it wasn't just any monkey. It was a mother monkey, and she had 4 monkey babies. And that little wide-mouthed frog, he called up to that mother monkey, and he said, "Oh, mother monkey, what do you feed your babies? And the mother monkey said, I feed my babies bananas. Ripe, juicy bananas. You want to stay for supper? Well, the wide-mouthed frog thought about that, and he said, not today, maybe another day, but thank you anyway. And he hopped away. And as he hopped, he sang his song. I'm a little wide-mouthed frog, ribbit, ribbit. I'm a little wide-mouthed frog, croak, croak. I'm a little wide-mouthed frog, I live in the swamp by the pond. I'm a little wide-mouthed frog. Well, that little wide-mouthed frog kept on hopping till he came to a river. And he went right up to the edge of that river and he looked down into that water. And he saw an animal in there. He saw two eyes bulging up above the surface of the water, and just below the surface was a long snout with lots of teeth. What do you think it was?
Ooh, was it a crocodile?
It was a crocodile, but it wasn't just any crocodile. It was a mother crocodile, and she had 5 crocodile babies. And that little wide-mouthed frog, he called out to that mother crocodile. He said, oh, mother crocodile, what do you feed your babies? And the mother crocodile said, I feed my babies wide-mouthed frogs. You want to stay for supper? Ooh, that little wide-mouthed frog, he didn't have to think about that. He said, not today, maybe another day, but thank you anyway, and hopped away real fast. And as he hopped, he sang a different song. I'm a little smallmouth frog, ribbit, ribbit. I'm a little smallmouth frog, croak, croak. I'm a little smallmouth frog, I live in the swamp near the bog. I'm a little smallmouth frog. Well, when that little wide-mouthed frog got back to his lily pad, whew, was he relieved. And you know, his mama had his supper all ready for him. So he sat right down on that lily pad and ate every single bit of that fly stew with mashed mosquitoes and dragonfly wing gravy. Mama, he said, that was the best supper I ever had. Those are all my favorites. And you know, after that little wide-mouthed frog wasn't quite so curious. But he always sang his song. Let's sing it one more time. I'm a little wide-mouthed frog, ribbit, ribbit. I'm a little wide-mouthed frog, croak, croak. I'm a little wide-mouthed frog, I live in the swamp near the bog. I'm a little wide-mouthed frog.
Wonderful.